Shakespeare's word meanings and our word meanings today aren't necessarily the same. Shakespeare lived over 400 years ago, over 440 years ago now. So words that were used in his time period aren't necessarily going to be the same as words used today. For example, in the play, one of the characters uses the word straight. Okay? I must straight to so-and-so's house or something like that. In Shakespearean time periods, that would mean straight away. But to us, we would use the word immediately or right away. Another example would be the word casket. Now, I've told you about the caskets that each suitor to Portia must choose from. We don't use the word casket to necessarily mean a small, intricate jewelry box anymore. Today, a meaning of casket is a burial box that you put a body in to be buried. So our sense of the word isn't the same. Our meaning for words are not the same. Other uses of words in Shakespearean time, or other techniques Shakespeare used are wordplay. Now these are the fun examples that Shakespeare used in his language. He was always playing with words and always using different meanings in his text to add to them. And wordplay, when he used wordplay, it means like using metaphors and similes and all kinds of examples of literary devices. So I'm going to give you the handout with a refresher of like metaphor and simile and personification and allusion and things like that. But from the reading that we have done already, that we can pick up some examples of this wordplay. For example, in Act 1, Scene 1, Bassanio goes through that whole metaphor of shooting arrows. In line 147 to 159, he talks about shooting arrows, and we all said that's a bad business deal. But that's a metaphor for lending money. That's what he wants from Antonio. He wants more money so he can go woo Portia. And he uses this metaphor of shooting arrows as a schoolboy. An example of a simile could be Act 1, Scene 1, line 9 to 11, when they're talking about the ships. And Celerino says, There were your argosies with portly sail, like seigneurs and rich burghers on the flood, or as it were the pageants of the sea. Do overpeer the petty traffickers that curtsy to them, do them reverence, as they fly by them with their woven wings. That's a simile. It uses like to compare. Okay? Another example would be of an allusion. In Act 1, Scene 1, Bassanio is talking up fair Portia, this woman that he wants to woo. And he brings up the allusion to Jason and the Golden Fleece, and that's an old mythological story. And he talks about all these men going to seek the Golden Fleece. So that's an allusion to another time period. And then there are other examples that you'll have on these note pages, but Shakespeare used all kinds of wordplay to add, tension and suspense and uniqueness to each character. Also, Shakespeare's dialogue involved one of the more complex ideas that we need to discuss, and that would be Shakespeare's verse, or the dramatic dialogue of characters. Whenever you read a Shakespearean play, you will notice that not all the characters speak the same, as I've said. There are three primary types of language used in the plays. In Merchant of Venice, you will see prose, blank verse, and rhymed verse. Prose is simply how you or I would talk, written down. If you pick up a piece of fiction or a piece of literature, chances are very good you'll see a lot of prose in that piece of literature. It's just like what we're speaking, okay? Blank verse is lines, okay, of poetry, but they don't necessarily have rhyme in them. And then you have rhymed verse. And rhymed verse is where it gets a little tricky, because rhymed verse is usually a poem or lines of a poem or of a play that have rhythm and meter. Now, that means like similar sounds and patterns to them. Now, Shakespeare had a very famous type of verse, and it's Shakespearean. It's called Shakespearean verse, but really what it It's iambic pentameter. And what that meant was it's a line of poetry or of a line of a character. Some of the characters you'll note, specifically Portia and Bassanio, when they speak, because they are in love, they will talk in poetic verse, and they will sometimes use iambic pentameter. And in that, you can see a pattern and a structure to the lines of their dialogue. And iambic pentameter is part of that, and it would be a line of poetry or a line of dialogue that has 5 feet, 5 metric feet, kind of like music, 5 counts, and within each of those feet there would be an unstressed syllable in a word followed by a stressed syllable in a word. Now, this may all sound a little confusing, but we are going to go over that with a handout in class. So this is just to get it into your brain right now. Now, in the play, like I said, characters speak differently. If the character is of a really high status in the play, like Portia, she's one of the main characters. Portia speaks in several different styles throughout the play. She speaks in prose, and she also speaks in rhymed verse. Gobbo, another character in the play who is Shylock's servant and not really of the highest standing, speaks in prose for most of the time because he is of a lower status. So depending on the status of the character, Shakespeare changed the way they spoke and changed the way they used their words. And it added to that character's uniqueness in the play throughout. And they are allowed to change and develop as well. Now, other things to note before we move on. Other topics. Spelling is another idea that goes with words. Shakespeare lived 400 years ago. The words that they used and the words that we use, some of them are still the same, some of them have changed, meanings or spellings, so keep that in mind. When you're reading the play, you need to be aware of how your character is speaking. So whenever you're journaling about your specific characters, keep that in mind. How does your character speak in that scene? Are they using do you notice a pattern to the way they're speaking? Are they using rhyme? Is there a rhythm to their language? We'll go over this more in detail in class, but it's just to give you the main ideas, because you have to work it, you have to put it down on a page and actually mark it and work it out as a group is the easiest. So we'll do that together. I hope this has been helpful, and until the next time, enjoy reading your Shakespeare.